America's farmers depend on a mineral buried beneath Saskatchewan, and if that supply chain falters, there is no quick replacement. Potash delivers the potassium crops need to survive drought, resist disease, and produce yields. Yet U.S. mines supply only a fraction of national demand. Welcome back to your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit. Canada is still feeding America's fertilizer pipeline, but rising global demand, new Pacific export routes, and renewed trade uncertainty are giving Saskatchewan more leverage today. Washington is racing to build domestic supply, but geology moves slower than politics. Here are the 5 developments reshaping North America's potash battle. Number 5. Fertilizer pressure builds. American farms face greater exposure. American farmers face mounting pressure because fertilizer, fuel, seed, machinery, and financing remain expensive even when crop prices weaken. USDA data from July 10th placed Pacific Northwest potash prices at about $694 per ton for red potash and $744 for white, both unchanged from the previous report. That signals persistent costs rather than a sudden tariff-driven surge. Conflict involving Iran and disruption around the Strait of Hormuz also affected natural gas and nitrogen fertilizer flows. Canadian potash avoids those routes, but wider fertilizer instability can still strain farm budgets and global nutrient demand. The deeper risk is concentrated supply. Rail interruptions, border disputes, policy reversals, or stronger overseas demand could quickly raise delivered costs. Repeatedly reducing potassium applications may also weaken soil fertility and future yields across multiple planting seasons for growers. But the bigger question is unavoidable. Why can't America simply mine more potash? The answer is buried beneath Saskatchewan's geology. Number 4. America's geological problem. Saskatchewan cannot be replicated. Potash is a potassium-rich fertilizer essential to crop health, helping plants manage water, resist drought and disease, strengthen stalks, and form grain. Alongside nitrogen and phosphorus, it is a core part of the NPK system. Farmers can improve application efficiency, but potassium cannot be replaced in plant biology. In 2025, U.S. mines produced about 500,000 metric tons in potassium oxide equivalent, while consumption reached 5.9 million tons, leaving the country about 92% dependent on net imports. Canada produced around 15 million tons, about 30 times U.S. output, and supplied roughly 79% of American potash imports between 2021 and 2024. New Mexico and Utah contribute supply, but they cannot match Saskatchewan's reserves, infrastructure, rail access, or proximity. New mines take years, so Washington cannot quickly engineer its way around geology. But geology is only half the advantage. Saskatchewan also has the industrial engine to exploit it. Number 3. Saskatchewan's supply engine. Canada gains global leverage. Canada's potash influence rests on production scale, infrastructure, and global reach rather than threats. In 2024, Canada exported a record 22.9 million tons, representing nearly 39% of worldwide shipments. The United States received about 53%, while Brazil took roughly 14% and China 6%. America remains Saskatchewan's largest and most convenient customer, but Canadian producers are no longer tied to one market. 10 operating mines, skilled workers, processing plants, and established rail corridors give Saskatchewan a supply system few competitors can match. Nutrien's international network further expands access to buyers worldwide. Canadian potash also reaches U.S. farms efficiently by rail, avoiding long ocean routes and maritime choke points. Despite possible rail disruptions, Canada's core advantage remains clear: vast reserves, dependable mines, secure continental access, and diversified global demand. But existing production is only part of the story. Canada is preparing new mines and export routes that could push that leverage into an even higher gear. Before we examine that expansion, support Piston Pundit by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. It helps us bring more detailed automotive, industrial, technology, and policy analysis to enthusiasts like you. Now let's follow Saskatchewan's potash beyond North America and toward a much larger global marketplace. Number 2. Canada's Pacific pivot. Saskatchewan finds new buyers. Canada can strengthen its leverage without abandoning the United States by gaining more buyers and export routes. Nutrien estimated global potash shipments at 74.5 million tons in 2025 and projected 74 million to 77 million tons for 2026, supported by demand from China, India, Brazil, and Southeast Asia. Its proposed Port of Longview terminal could complement Vancouver and St. John, although a final investment decision is not expected before 2027. BHP's Jansen project could add major capacity, with Stage 1 targeted for mid-2027. Stage 2 costs have risen from $4.9 billion to $6.9 billion, delaying production to late fiscal 2031. At full capacity, both stages could produce 8.5 million tons annually, expanding Canada's markets and strengthening Saskatchewan's hand in trade. But as Canada widens its options abroad, Washington faces a harder test. Can domestic supply catch up before dependence deepens? Number 1. America's potash escape plan. Too little, too late? Washington recognizes America's potash dependence, but its strategy is conflicted. Protect farmers from costly imports while supporting domestic projects that may produce more expensive fertilizer. In 2026, the Supreme Court ruled that emergency economic powers did not authorize the tariffs imposed in 2025. The administration then introduced a 10% Section 122 surcharge, scheduled to expire July 24th unless extended. However, potassium chloride, the main potash product traded with Canada, is exempt, as are USMCA qualifying goods. Canadian potash therefore does not face the blanket surcharge. Meanwhile, USDA committed $500 million through the Fields program, while the Michigan Potash and Salt Project received a conditional loan commitment of up to $1.26 billion and could eventually produce 800,000 tons annually. That leaves one decisive question. Will North America protect its fertilizer lifeline, or let trade politics turn dependence into crisis? Final verdict: essential partnership or the next trade breakdown? American farmers are not facing an immediate Canadian cutoff, and Canadian potassium chloride remains exempt from the temporary U.S. surcharge. The deeper danger is structural. America still relies on imports for roughly 92% of its potash, while Saskatchewan controls the reserves, mines, and rail network needed every planting season. Canada still values the U.S. market, but rising global demand, Pacific export plans, and future Jansen production are giving it more options. Washington's funding and the Michigan project may improve resilience, yet neither can replace Canadian supply quickly. Now, we want to hear from you. Should Washington treat Canadian potash as a strategic partnership? Can U.S. mines ever close the gap? And could Canada's Asian expansion reshape fertilizer prices? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments. For the latest vehicle updates and more in-depth analysis of the industries, technologies, and policies shaping the automotive world, subscribe to Piston Pundit and turn on the notification bell. You can also check out one of the videos appearing on your screen. There is plenty more to explore. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.